Nonetheless, he lives to fight again, and that he will do. Jack Catterall, former British light welterweight champion, joins us live on the show. Jack, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How is everybody?
Hey, Jack.
We are very well indeed, Jack. Thank you so much. Let me take you back to that night in Glasgow, and when the world and his wife thought Jack Catterall's going to get the nod, Josh Taylor got the nod. It was somewhat controversial, to say the least. Are you over that disappointment now, Jack?
Yeah, it was disappointing at the time, but like anything, you can only control your variables. We drew a line underneath it, and I enjoyed being in the gym. I was straight back in the gym and just wanting to get back active and put the situation right.
I mean, how difficult was that, Jack? I was working up there on that fight, actually, sitting at ringside. We're speaking actually to you, Simon, through the fight, weren't we? And sort of, we had it so clear. Like I probably had you 9 rounds to 3 in front at the time. Yeah, I mean, it was very, very conclusive that you'd won that fight. It went against you. How difficult was that to swallow and get back into the gym as quick as you did? I spoke to Jamie about it as well, and he was bitterly disappointed.
Yeah, you was there, so you understand the atmosphere and the feeling after the fight.
Yeah.
And I'm not one to go on to do big crazy celebrations, but what I did up there in February, a lot of people didn't have me down to go up there and get a win. I felt like I was a massive underdog, and I appreciate that what Josh had done before. We boxed all the fights he'd had, undisputed, but I was confident in my ability. Got up there, and you must have seen the emotion on my face after that 12th bell.
Sure.
I just upset the world. I'd done the unimaginable, and it was a couple of seconds, maybe a minute or two of feeling on top of the world, and it all come crashing down. But again, and I've said this previously, I've got a good support system, my family, my girlfriend, and the team that I've surrounded myself with, so they picked me back up. I was in the dumps for a few days, but I got a little taste of being at that top level, fighting Josh, getting the 12 rounds in, and it just made me excited for fights to come in the future, and I've got to put a positive spin on it. Every cloud has a silver lining. I've had massive support since the fight, so can
you bring us a bit of breaking news? When are you fighting him again?
So there is talks ongoing. We're targeting a November fight. You'll have seen I've just done a multi-fight deal with Boxer and Sky Sports, so hopefully now that fight isn't difficult to make.
Sure, I had a good conversation with Ben actually, and he was saying that he was hoping November, December, and he was hoping for it to be in Manchester as well.
Not up in Scotland.
No,
again.
in Manchester.
No,
He said he's hoping for it to be in Manchester, which would be good for you, Jack. What I wanted to say was, like, going into that contest, that first contest, I think the only people that believed you were going to win was yourself and your trainer and obviously your close family, but everybody else thought he was going to lose that fight. You turned him on his head, in my opinion, and won the fight and won it comfortably. And there wasn't a person in there. The Scottish people, by the way, that was included in there, Jim, everybody thought that Jack had won that fight. It was a tough
because
card,
they're fair fight fans, aren't they, Jack? They're fair fans.
And you know what? Everybody that had the opinion before the fight, they was entitled to it. I boxed at a British international level, never on a world title level, and I understood that. My team understood that. And yeah, massive respect for all the fans that turned out in Scotland. I've been inundated with messages of support from fans in Scotland that want to come to the next fight. And you was the feeling after the fight. It was just a bit.
Sure.
The only thing is, Jack, Simon, sorry, the only thing is, Jack, I would have thought in your quest to right the wrong and go out and do a job in Taylor, this time, if it's November in Manchester, say, there is a danger you could take your eye off the main objective, and that is to win and fair and square in your absolute determination to overcome the last verdict.
Yeah, you can look at it like that, but for me, it doesn't matter where the fight is. It'd be nice if it was in Manchester, but it doesn't matter. There's only one thing on my mind, and that's going out there and doing a better job than last time and beating Josh and picking up them world titles.
When you look at the fight back, Jack, I mean, obviously I watched it. I was away in Marbella, but I watched the fight and I was talking to Spencer all through the fight, and watching you, I thought putting Josh through the ringer. And there was a lot of people, me included, that thought there were levels in this fight. And I watched the gloves are off, and I watched Josh's attitude towards you, which was very high-handed. And I think they thought they were going to have an easy night's work. And of course, you proved that differently. But now you're in a situation where Josh Taylor now knows what you're capable of firsthand. And now in a situation, because there's an inherent unfairness, you stepped aside to let Josh Taylor have fights that gave him an opportunity to be a 4-belt holder. Those belts are now scattered, so even if you beat him, you don't get the same place that he was in. But do you think now that the fight will be a very different fight this time around? Not because I'm suggesting that you won't win it, but because Josh Taylor now looks at Jack Catterall with a completely different set of eyes.
You know what, that might be the case, but ultimately I've been in the ring, I've shared 12 rounds with Josh as well. There's going to be things that I have to do different in training camp and tactics for the fight, and Josh will be the same. But once you've been in the ring with somebody, there is that you kind of know them a little bit, so there will be aspects that I do have to change, but I am confident that no matter what Josh comes with in the fight, in the rematch, if that can get made, that I can beat him.
Jack, when are we hoping to get some news about when that fight could be done? So are you hoping to hear about that anytime soon? And in the meantime, how do you stay motivated for that? Does that mean you just ticking over in the gym? I mean, what's the game plan right now?
Yeah, so I know that there's talks ongoing between the promoters, Josh's team, my team, etc. I'm in a good place. I'm in the gym. The gym's thriving. There's some great fights happening and coming up for the fighters in the gym. And I'm very fortunate that the gym where I train with Jamie Moore, Nigel Travis and Assam is only half an hour from where I live. So, and I'm comfortable being at home, travelling to the gym. I've got a great setup there. So I'm excited. I know these conversations are going on. I'm hoping for some news in the next couple of weeks.
Right.
Nonetheless, there must be quite a degree of needle between you and Taylor these days, is there not, Jack? You still feel aggrieved. Taylor thinks it was the right decision. And boy, did he show it on the night. He celebrated like there was no tomorrow and still says he won it. Is there a lot of needle now between the two of you? Do you like him?
Yeah, I get asked by a lot of people, is it genuine needle? And it is now. There's never no feelings towards your opponent. You're getting in there. Well, there certainly isn't for me. It's a job. I go in on fight day to my enemy after the fight. We can shake hands, go our separate ways. A lot of past opponents I still speak to, and we've got a kind of boxing relationship. But with Josh and the way he's carried himself after the fight, and even the months going on from then, there's been a bit of back and forth, and I think that energy is building. So I think we will have a bit of needle in the build-up.
We know Jack, he and his family have suffered a bit with online abuse, which is never welcome at any time of the day or night, and you wouldn't wish that on anyone.
I've been a big advocate of speaking about that. We was subject to it pre-fight. My girlfriend had the messages as we was in the weeks leading up to going up to Glasgow, so I know what that feels like, and I'm totally against it. But on the flip side, I don't think Josh has done himself any favours in the way he's interacted with the fans and he's carried himself after the fight. So it's we're
all now very much Jack Catterall admirers because we've seen the level that you're fighting at. Before the fight, everyone was a Josh Taylor admirer, and I'm still a Josh Taylor admirer. And I think listening to him and watching him, I thought he was a little bit contemptuous of you and was underestimating what you brought to bear. Basically, I think he thought he was going to roll you over. When you look back on it, Jack, and it's not necessarily the most pragmatic of discussions, can you see, have anyone told you how they managed to give the verdict to Josh?
It's a great question, actually. Yeah, because I'd like to hear this.
Yeah, you know what? There's things I picked out in watching it that I can do better, but I've not sat or heard from nobody that sat down, rewatched the fight and scored it in his favour. So the fact that he's still carrying on with himself and...
Yeah, it's a strange... It's strange.
Think of whoever else has scored it towards him. I really don't know what to watch him.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? Because I spoke to Josh after the fight, actually. We sat down after and had a beer and stuff, and I said to him, do you truly think that you won that? And he does truly believe that he won that contest. And I said, you're the only guy, obviously you was in there with him, but surely I know as an ex-fighter...
Man, he's not going to say to you, no, Jack got robbed.
No, but I know as an ex-fighter, right, what he should have done, what he should have come out and said was, listen, it was a tough fight, a close fight, the boxing gods were with me, and it went my way. Done. Dead and buried in the water. That's all he had to say. But it was because he was so convinced that he'd won that fight. I know as an ex-fighter, when you lose
I think it is,
a
Spencer,
fight,
I think once he set that tone and he's gone full pelt with it, he can't revert back now and say, well, I think he's gone that far with his beliefs that it is what it is now.
But all that to one side, what it has done is it's now put you in a different position, isn't it? It's put you in a different position commercially for the second fight in terms of being able to perhaps have a stronger negotiation about what you can take out of this fight. It's also announced you at world level now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So even if, I'm not suggesting it will do, even if and when this fight gets made, if it weren't to go your way, Josh will go up a division and you will still be at a stage where you're a world level fighter now and able to be in a situation where you're going to start getting a lot of big fights coming your way, aren't you?
Yeah, I've said this for a while now. I was probably born in the wrong era. I love fighting. And the last 18 months, 2 years have been frustrating for me. I've been on the verge of getting a world title fight with that many hurdles in the way. The step aside to unifications, the undisputed, and I felt like it was never going to come. I always believed in my ability, but ultimately now, after that last fight, I'm in a position where I can fight Josh, God willing, come through that, and there's some big fights out there for me now to get stuck into.
Sure.
Oh, Jack, I'm Scottish and I wish you well, mate. I like you. You and I have met, and you're a terrific lad. Speak very well, and today's no exception. Jack, good luck.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.